Strake, and this is my video cast for assignment 3, server-side practical. So for this assignment, we have to create the first two parts of the CROC application, in which we are going to, in this part, we're going to create the create and read part of the application. So first of all, start my First of all, I have to spin up my server. So if we go here into my file, here in packages.json, I have a script. Help me npm run start, and this will start the server. As you can see here, server listening on port 7000. We go here to 7000. We have the grading app. I basically use the same styling I use for the PHP. So let me walk you through the code. So, well, I have a index here, which is basically just grabbing the app. I create a variable that is holding the port, and then just running the app.listen on port 7000. So that's how the app is running. In the index right here, I'm just using a few libraries because the functionality of this app it doesn't require that much, but just to tell you a little bit about it, I'm using body parser to be able to grab the request body and it transform it into a JSON that I later can access. I'm using debug so I can see where my application is failing in case it crashes or something. I'm using the Express framework to create the server and to be able to display it on the browser. I'm using Postgres as my database. That is like the software that is going to be reading my database and handling the database. I'm using Pug as my templating engine, and I'm using Sequelize as my creator of my model creator and my migrations and all this stuff. This is just guidelines for my application that I like to always have. That way I get used to coding with the rule sets of Airbnb, so it makes my code look more professional. But here in code and in the index, well, I'm bringing the Express and the body parser, creating an app with Express. I'm basically just creating the app. As you can see here in my comments, explain a little bit like what I'm doing. So this, well, it has a static folder called public. This is where I'm gonna be putting all my CSS and my images, which is this background image right here. Here we have a file called Sequelizer, which is basically a config file for Sequelizer, which is gonna tell when you create the Sequelize init, it's gonna create a folder where it's gonna put all the migrations and the seeders and the config file here, when you can set up the database. So basically here, this is my computer username. We don't need a password. This is the name of the app, the grading app, and the host, which is my computer. Postgres is this little MAMP. It's very easy to use. You install it, run it, and that's it. And to check my database, I'm using Postigo. So if we go here to localhost, we can see that I already created the database called grading app, and then we go here to students, and you see we have ID, name, score, grade, created at, and updated at. Finally, well, here you see we have the controllers, the models, and the view. We have public controllers, which are like the routers that I'm getting the information from, and the router I'm displaying it on. We have the models, the student, which is basically the schema or the skeleton of what the student is required. Here's some validation. It cannot be null. Well, this is the 80, but it cannot be null. This one has to be a decimal number. It cannot be more than 100 and less than 0, so on and so forth. So that's my validation right there. Here, well, this file comes with the installation of a migration of CLIs. I don't want to mess with it. And finally, we have our views here where like I have a layout, which is just a simple part of the HTML. Then I have the landing page where like, which is this one, where it holds all the like the information and stuff. And well, and I have a mix. I have a list mixing, which basically grabs the information and displays it on the screen. I have the student form, which is this form that just grabs information. So let's start testing out this application, see if it works. So first, well, now let's create the first student. So let's say Heinz, and I got a 87. So we create the student. Boop. Here I show up Heinz, 87%, grade B, find the modify, and the delete buttons, and my ID. For the ID, I'm using UUID4. I can use auto increment. I didn't have to use that one, but I don't know. I like getting used to the idea of creating these types of ID. So let's add 5 more. First of all, let me go to Practical here to see that now I'm in the database. You can see here, Heinz. I reloaded it, the database here, clicking on this reload button. Here's my ID, my name, my score, and my grade. Then let's add Fonda. I said that she got a 99, and she got an A. That's amazing. There's a Samuel. He got a 75, so he got a C. And then let's add someone else. Let's add Gabriel, and he got a D, which is like a 68. Got a D. And then let's add someone else. Let's add Nicholas. Nicholas, and he basically did nothing, so we gave him 34, and he got an F. So here's displaying all the information. Well, if you try to put 102, 102.5, it won't let you. Also, well, I have the JavaScript and HTML validator here, so it will pop up this message. But for example, for this one, it cannot be null. So if we put here 65 and we create, it's just saying name value longer than 3 characters, please. In other words, it cannot be null. Or it cannot be empty, so it always have to. So that's my validation right there. I show you my comments. Let me see if I'm missing something. Yeah, validation. I have my all MD6 structure. I have my comments in my code and best practices of SSL. Well, I'm following Airbnb practices and code kind of like syntax. And I have my image and my styling, and I'm not using React for this application. So thank you very much, and goodbye.